Hello, Podwalkers, and welcome to another episode of Goblin Games, the supplement to the Goblin Lore podcast where we just kind of keep things light, keep them short, and we have as much fun as we can. I'm your host, Hobbes and Joe. You can be found on Twitter at Hobbes and Joe. And we have with us today guest as well as my co-host.
Yeah, I'm Joe. I'm the producer of Goblin Lore and Goblin Games, and it's about to get weird.
That's all you... Okay, well, see, yeah. You made it awkward. Okay, and we got Nick with us. So, Nick, you want to tell us a little bit about who you are?
My name is Nick Prince. I've played Magic for a long time. I love all aspects of it, including the lore and the flavor and competitive Magic. And mostly I just am really active on Twitter. That's really all I could say is my contribution to Magic, is that I tweet a lot.
And then we have Arctic Meebo. Did you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Ally Warfield. You can find me on Twitter at Arctic Meebo. I've been doing a lot more this year with like V-Click podcast, and then I'm going to start streaming this next year. And I've been writing for Hipsters for a couple of weeks, so a lot of exciting stuff in the works.
Hipsters of the Coast, yep.
Still looking for my Taco Bell sponsorship. So
we're going to play a little game today called Yikes or YEET. And since neither Joe nor I are hip enough to really understand this game, we brought on the two people on Twitter that we thought could best represent. From what I can understand, Yikes kind of means that you are supposed to sit in the penalty box or something. Mm-hmm. I don't really know the consequences of it, but I think it's not good.
Yeah, there's a penalty box. There's a dunce cap involved, I'm sure. Otherwise, I don't know why I'm wearing this right now. But Yikes, bad. Yeet, good. So we're going to talk about a couple of different topics from Magic. Since it's the end of the year, we're going to sort of do like a fun year in review in Vorthos Magic, and a little bit of competitive, since both Nick and Ally, you guys are grinders in the tournament scene. We got a little bit there for the Mells of the world as well. So, you know, we'll toss out a topic, and Nick and Ally, you guys will give us your, weigh in on whether it's Yeet or Yikes, and give us your takes, be they hot or lukewarm or otherwise.
Yeet.
I really wish we just had like a sound effect button that we could push. So we're going to start this off with the Ravnica D&D book. Do you guys know anything about this?
A little bit from Ruben Bressler's show.
Okay. And
where do you some of? Okay,
where do you stand on us bringing the Magic world to D&D officially?
I am Yeet for that. That is a 100% great move. I love it. It seems just like such an obvious thing to do. Magic started with Dungeons and Dragons. Like, one, wizards, promote your brands, cross-promote, get on it. And second, like, anything to just get more Magic out in the world is a good thing to me. How about you, Ellie? What do you think about Ravnica?
I'm also going to say that this is a Yeet, because I have always wanted it to, like, oh, what if there was, like, a Magic, like, D&D? And it's always been something I'm very interested in. So this is definitely a Yeet.
I mean, Joe, you were kind of working on your own little world for this in some ways prior to the full book coming out.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I don't know if I have the even though I'm a similar age to Nick and Ally, I don't know that I have the cultural capital to say Yeet, but I'm going to say Yeet to Ravnica D&D. Magic role-playing is an awesome idea in general, and and yeah, like you said, cross-promotion is huge, because now you have people who knew one maybe starting to look into the other, and you have ways of taking the cards and bringing them to life and making it a longer game process. I love that.
Hey, I'm going to go with Yikes, and that's only because I think they picked the wrong world to start with. I would have liked to have seen it start off with Dominaria, even though I know that it was made to kind of coincide with where it's at right now.
I feel like Hobbes should like give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. He can't eat her Yikes.
That gets one thumb up.
It gets 4 out of 5 Yelp stars.
Were we able to do anything back on Friendster? I don't remember.
What?
Oh my I don't know what that is.
Neither do I.
I don't know what that is either.
All right. Moving on.
Yep. Next bullet point.
This brings us to the next point, which is somebody mentioned the idea of getting your goblin grenades altered to have the goblins all screaming yeet. And don't we have like a burn expert on the show right now?
It's not me. I play Bob.
Certainly the Bolt Queen.
Yeah, I mean, so would you like to jump in first?
Well, I would not consider myself a burn expert, just a lightning bolt enthusiast. Goblin grenade.
Just get a minor in bolt, not a major.
Inherently should be yeet. I'm probably going to give that a yikes.
Oh, okay.
Why?
Is it a little too on the nose, or?
Yeah, I think that's it. I don't really have a good reason.
Would it change it if it said YOLO?
Oh,
Or is
That-
YOLO?
that
oh,
would
YOLO
definitely
would
be
be
a
so much
yikes.
worse.
That's a 100% yikes.
It's a huge yikes.
Big ol' yikes. I'm going to agree. I think it's a yikes because you're still blowing up a goblin. You're still killing a goblin. They're so cute. That's yikes.
Pandering will get you everywhere on the Goblin Lore podcast. I appreciate that. I'm in this camp. I think it's funny though.
This is the worst show ever because I really want now ones that say YOLO, but they also need to be white bordered.
And damage
Also
condition.
yikes. White border is definitely yikes.
White border is 100% yikes.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys do not play enough burn to troll your opponents.
Still one of my favorite deck projects. All the damaged and mismatched cards of burn for you.
Yeah, I rebuilt burn at one point with literally. I think I had a
I think
Jace
Nick
versus
just threw
Sean.
something.
No, I dropped my pen, but we'll
Okay.
consider it throwing something.
I'm
I'm just so angry.
I even found a Jace versus Chandra Incinerate just to be in a different language with that. Yeah.
On to the next one.
Hey, so Brandon Sanderson's Children of the Nameless Story. So for those that don't know, Brandon Sanderson actually has been playing Magic for quite a while. I mean, for at least as far as I know back, I remember I was in Utah and he randomly was coming to a store to gunsling, and that was probably 5-6 years ago. So he recently had a chance to write kind of some storyline for Magic, and have people had a chance to read it? What do you guys think?
I have not. I don't actually know this because I'm behind on the story.
Yeah, I'm not aware of this either.
So give us the TLDR. Do you know what that is, Hobbs?
TLDR is like the loser does right things,
Yup.
right? Yeah.
Good
Too
job.
long didn't read. I didn't have time
Yes.
to study. Joe, the only way this is getting left in here is if you've read it too.
Yep, I have. So the short version is this is a story outside of the main narrative. We go back to Innistrad and meet this she's like 15-year-old girl, Tasenda, and she was a twin who has like this curse where I can't remember if she's the twin who loses her eyesight at night or during the day, but like the other one loses their eyesight during the other one, and so like they are forever sort of bound to each other, and one is a warrior and one is a sort of a singing spellcaster, and she's the singer that her song has been able to keep all the beasts at bay for years, but after a while, her village in Kessig is overrun, and everyone is killed except for her. And then she finds this Davriel character who is a planeswalker, and he's the lord of the manor of this village, and he's got all these sorry, spoilers for anyone who hasn't read it yet, but contracts with demons, and he's dabbling in dark arts and all this crazy stuff. So it's intriguing. I really enjoyed it. I think I give it a yeet because it's this cool story that steps outside of the main story, and it's I don't know, it introduces some interesting concepts, I think.
I'm gonna go with Yikes. Just all of that sounded like Yikes.
I mean, that's what we gotta go with, Joe. It's your fault
Yep,
I gotta go.
Yep, that's fine. I gotta wear that. I gotta take that.
Okay, so now we're gonna move into probably the most important topic of the show, since we don't have a lot of Goblin questions. One's to do with our Elder Dragons. So the ratio of male to female Elder Dragons.
Question: what is the ratio of male to female Elder Dragons?
I feel like there aren't many female ones. Like maybe maybe the red green
Atarka?
No,
So there's Atarka. There's Dromoka. They were both female dragons, I believe. And then Palladium Ors from the Dominaria ones.
yes.
Are there other Elder Dragons? I don't think there are, right? We don't have any other ones.
No
No.
Elder Dragons, no.
No, I think it's Dominaria and then Tarkir.
Okay.
Yeah, Palladium Ors, and like you said, Atarka, Dromoka. So,
Okay, so 3 to 7.
yeah, I think Yikes, right? Like that's not a representative percentage. At least, well,
Actually, we have 11 technically, because Ugin is.
oh, that's true.
Okay,
So
3 to 8.
8, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what I mean. The human sample population, like women outnumber men like 55 to 45% or something in real life. I don't know about dragons.
Yeah, what's the ratio of dragon male to female?
That's a good question. I think this one might have to be reserved for like further study.
Pending.
This is pending. This needs further research.
Okay.
So, well, I guess then we could just ask the simple question: Nicol Bolas, yeet or yikes?
What do you think, Allie? I'm actually curious. I know my answer.
I guess like lore-wise, kind of yikes, but like as the actual cards, I think cards are totally yeet. I love the new Nicol Bolas, the creature that flips into the Planeswalker.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say Yikes only because I feel like it's a trap right now in Standard to go for that Nicol Bolas. And Nicol Bolas is always just like this card that I want to be good, and then I play it, and it's like not quite where like you ever want to be in the meta. Like his best card is arguably Cruel Ultimatum, which isn't even him.
I mean, I think I have the problem of I do appreciate that the 4-drop one is made to be playable, even though we do have the strong color commitment. We're not dealing with doubles of everything like we've had to do in the past, or to just cast the Planeswalkers. The bigger issue for me from a lore perspective, so this is going to be a thumbs down from a lore perspective of the new card, is that the version that we get in the Dominaria that we have right now is actually a less powerful version, even though it's the one that supposedly sparks. So he's not a 6/6. He's not as big. It's not yet. He's the one that the card actually represents sparking, and I had a lot of problems with that.
I'm going Yikes. He's a dick. Moving on.
I like it.
Okay, wow, that was I'm just glad we didn't turn that into a question about me. Okay. Aminatal's dress/style. So this is basically our harbinger of destruction and all things bad in the world is a little girl. What do you guys think?
Oh, Aminatou is the Esper Planeswalker commander, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Now I know who we're talking about. I was like,
Yeah, I have
the
horrible
heck is
pronunciation.
that? Well, no, it's fine. I don't know how to say it. I just was like reading the word and I'm like, who is that?
Yeah. So it's the Esper Planeswalker that basically kind of can manipulate time in some fashion.
She's got all of those like Death's Head moth motifs and stuff.
Oh, that's right. She's got moths heat.
Wow.
Oh no, yeet.
It's moths. It's heat.
I mean, that's just like. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, so yeah. Well, that was a little easier than I thought it was going to be. I thought we were going to have a nice discussion about Seb McKinnon, but the moths just kicked it over, right?
Seb McKinnon is also yeet.
Yeah, true.
His art's fantastic.
The art, like creepy, but really good, and she just looks like a complete badass, and I love it. So definitely YEET.
Yeah, like what little girl is just hanging out in a swamp, just chilling, surrounded by moths?
I mean, it makes me think of like the
awesome.
little girl in Men in Black, the one that Will Smith just is the only one that he actually shoots during the training exercise.
She has a little lamp too, Allie. Do you see that?
Oh, it's like a fire.
Moths love lamp.
Yeah.
No wonder. It all makes so much sense. It's just the moth and lamp meme. This little girl is like the most YEET. She needs to be in more stories.
Well, she does, right?
Yeah,
I want her
she's
as a
an
standard card now if she's gonna be moth and lamping.
What if she's the one that saves Ravnica?
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah,
that'd be
sounds lit.
sweet.
Do you say it sounds lit? Is that a thing?
Yeah. Well, she's a lamp, so she's lit. She's gonna bring all the moths with.
I mean, is she literally lit AF?
Yes. She's a lamp. She's the lamp.
She's the lamp.
Oh.
Wow, and just because we took these questions in random order, it makes for nice transitions because we're going to move straight from that to green vampires.
Question mark.
Question mark. Given that I can name like one green vampire, I'm just interested in what people think. I'm
now curious. What is it? Because I don't know.
Chameleon Colossus.
That's cheating. Miss me with that misform ultimate shit. Like,
I did say green at least.
Well, I guess. Like, okay.
What do you guys think of the concept of... We know green does not have vampires currently. Where does that fall for you?
There's a moose changeling, and that seems YEET, which means it's a vampire. I remember the moose. That was in like Morning Time or something. The card was great. It just looks so derpy. It reminds me of Wooper. It's just like kind of dumb and like, but just super happy to be there.
The moose changeling. I forgot
The moose
all about
changeling
that
is
until
great.
now.
It's my favorite. It's even better than the amoeba changeling, in my opinion. It's just a moose.
Yeah, moose changeling definitely sounds like a YEET.
That's a green vampire too. I think we have a definitive answer.
Easy.
Easy.
Okay.
Sorry, before we move off this, I did Google moose changeling and found a story that someone wrote about this card. A little piece of fanfic lore called The Last Jelly Moose, which will be linked in the show notes.
That's what I was just saying. Can we please be linking this?
Yep.
Because, okay.
Yep.
The Last Jelly Moose. I can't wait.
The Last Jelly Moose, which also has an altar where he's wearing a fez?
Yep. That's real.
Yeah, okay.
That's real life.
Okay. Fezzes are cool. YEET. Okay, so Liliana and Gideon's guilt. Is that what? That just is depressing.
The original question that was given to us by Michelle at Balefire Strix on Twitter was who wore the guilt better this year, Liliana or Gideon? And so we could phrase it that way if we want to. Who wore guilt better this year? So Liliana had the unfortunate contract sort of defaulting and becoming enslaved to Bolus and then becoming his minion. Gideon had to reckon with the whole not being able to beat up Bolus on Amonkhet and getting bruised and battered and thrown across the multiverse.
If I were Liliana, I'd feel guilty about not reading the contract. Like, how do you not know Bolus gets to like enslave you? Did she never bother reading what she signed? She's the person who clicks through the terms of service agreement, but this time it was really important. I'm not okay with this. I go with Gideon. Also, this isn't Yeet or Yikes. This is like Gideon or Liliana. But still, we'll go with Gideon. Gideon's guilt makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Although I would
Liliana's
also
guilt.
not read through the terms and conditions.
Nobody does. But like, if you're signing like a lease for an apartment or like buying a house, you're gonna read it. Ellie, next time you move, please send me your lease so I can read it. I'll just tell you that. Please don't just blindly sign things, Ellie.
Nick sounds like a cop though, reading agreements. I don't like it.
That's
true.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I say as I'm wearing a Azorius t-shirt and getting licked in the face by a dog.
Good boy. Speaking of good boys.
Yeah, speaking of good boys, how about Yargle? Everybody's good boy. Almost single-handedly took down the Weatherlight.
And the next bullet point is the same thing as this. I don't know why I made two. I'm sleepy. Yargle, the giant swamp frog from Urborg, I believe he was known as the Glutton of Urborg, is his official title. And, yeah, he's gross.
Okay, so is the question, is Yargle Yeet, or is Yargle killing the Weatherlight Yeet?
Yeah, I think it's the flavor of him basically this like random vanilla legendary being able to almost take down the Leatherwhite.
Could be either. I mean, you can have a split answer.
I'm going to go with Yargle's Yeet. The Weatherlight is also Yeet, so Yargle killing the Weatherlight is Yikes.
Okay, is this like a transitive property of Yeets and Yikes?
Yeah, I wouldn't expect you to understand the Yeet and Yikes.
In this situation, it's like multiplication, though, because like the two Yeets multiplied together make a Yikes, right? Yargle times Weatherlight, not great.
Well, no, Yargle on the Weatherlight could be awesome.
That would be Yeet.
That'd be super Yeet. that'd be a Yeet from me. It's when somebody who's Yeet does something Yikes, it doesn't mean their actions are Yeet. That's my deep philosophy for tonight.
Oh, what do we think of the new Vraska? How's she wearing it?
Like, what do you mean about Vraska?
I think we're looking at kind of this new look that we have of her, and then kind of her role in the storyline. I mean, people are really talking about the look in particular. I think this is a reference to the most recent artwork.
Yeah, Magali Villanueva did her new card, and she has this like sort of fungus, this flowing like mushroom gown type thing, like very regal looking fungi. But yeah, so her new look and her, yeah, like you said, Hobbs, role as sort of queen of the underworld, as it were.
Definitely like her new look, because this art is just gorgeous. And then mushroom dress, totally a Yeet.
Mushroom dress is Yeet? I'm gonna go with mushroom dress as Yikes. Pirate get up was way more Yeet.
Oh,
Could they both be Yeet?
Oh, true. They could both be. I don't like mushrooms. I'm going with Yikes. Mushrooms are Yikes.
Like pirates, like her day attire, and then mushroom dress is like her going out on the town.
I don't like mushrooms. Mushrooms have that weird texture. They're like squeaky. I don't like them. Mushrooms are Yikes.
Mushrooms on the Town is Yikes for you?
Mushrooms on the Town sounds like a fantastic Broadway musical.
Sounds like an evening in Las Vegas.
Also true.
So I know the last couple that we kind of had, honestly, is more, to me, I mean, I've made this joke on Twitter, and I love to just stir shit. Sorry, Joe. I just like to stir things up, but...
Oh, do we not swear on this podcast?
It doesn't matter.
You guys have been doing a great job.
This is a good Christian podcast.
Yeah, good Christian. That might be taking it a bit far.
This is a good Church of Sarah podcast.
Yeah, that would be closer. We have our own realm. But we had talked about this. I really am interested in your guys' thoughts and dredging up bad memories of
Dredge?
The flavor part of casting a spell into a Chalice of the Void. Like, the ethics of it, whatever. I want to know from a flavor perspective if that works or doesn't work.
Well, let's be clear. Ethically, it was always fine. It was always fine, and that question was stupid. Otherwise, I don't know.
People took it so out of context, and I ended up just muting anything related to Chalice for like a week.
So you
Kind
got
of like best of one.
no even discussions about like the end of Monty Python and the Holy Grail, or you missed all of that content for a week.
It was worth it.
All right.
Yeah,
we all make sacrifices.
But I'm thinking from a flavor perspective, if you do have this chalice thing, the futility of casting a bolt into it. I'm just wondering, does that work for you guys?
Isn't that like the point of Chalice of the Void? Like, you're this powerful wizard, like crafting a spell, like you're crafting lightning bolt, and then it just gets sucked into a void. Isn't that the point? I think that's a yeet in the flavor.
Is the question like, what's the flavor of like someone else casting a spell into a Chalice of the Void?
Yeah.
Like to see if they'd catch it?
Yeah, basically.
Well, maybe they're just a bad wizard.
Right.
Sure, I'm here for it. If they forget how to use their chalice, like.
Well, they've been drinking
Good job,
heavily
idiot.
from their chalice.
Can you drink the void?
I mean,
I hope so.
probably not a good idea.
It's
I
gotta
don't wanna have
Void
a
get you
wine.
drunk.
It's at least got to do a number on your liver.
Ellie, next time we get drunk and we call it drinking from the void.
Yes.
Dallas, let's go.
Yes, SCG Dallas.
SCJ Dallas, we're gonna drink from the void.
Drink from the void.
Just don't drink into the void. Or if you do, take a looter scooter home.
Oh, they banned that card.
They didn't want people drinking in the void.
It's true. They banned my DD. What is this?
No more magic
At least-
Uber.
That's yikes.
Looter Scooter is magic Uber.
No, it makes sense. Like it picks up someone and then drops them off, and that's the draw and discard.
Yes.
I'm here for it. Why did ban Magic Uber? It's so sad.
Should we bring it home with the?
Yeah, you go ahead and bring this one home.
All right. As a modern aficionado myself, and by aficionado I mean I really like casting hollow ones on turn one, or playing boggles where no one else can interact with me. So human decks have been the bane of my existence, but I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on the strength of humans throughout Magic. They keep coming out every year.
Is this from like a flavor perspective also?
Yeah, we can go with both.
I mean, because like if it's just like competitively, like great, make more humans. Humans is a good deck. I like that. Ellie obviously loves humans.
Well, I'm playing spirits now, so.
Well, so am I. But partially because humans is bad. Like,
I think, I don't know, like humans as a creature type feels so easy, and they can do so much. It's just like the huge range that human creatures have, such a wide variety.
It's kind of this interesting thing that we're basically, in some ways, playing a fantasy game, but the default then is still going to be a humanoid, and in this case, it's literally humans. It's still almost kind of the default, where you end up then it is easy mode to kind of make human cards.
yeah, it's kind of yikes that like what are you playing? Magic the Gathering. It's like, oh cool, what's in that? Like, do you have like fireballs? Like, no. Do you have like dragons? No. What do you have?
Humans.
This guy's like he's a soldier. And this is the lieutenant. And then there's a dude with glowy hands.
They do really well when they
a pirate.
work together.
And a pirate.
Yeah, there's a pirate, and he was like, "Oh, what about the pirate?" And he was like, "It flies." Like, okay.
I guess there's our fantasy element. Yeah.
Oh, it also has a mantis. Is that? It has a bug? No, the bug is a human. Like,
Yeah, right?
Oh, because that's the Mantis Rider.
yeah, exactly. Like,
It's the writer, but
If it was a human bug card, much more interesting.
That's Delver of Secrets.
Ah, crap.
I think it only ever gets to be a human and then an insect. I don't ever think it's a human insect, though. If I remember right. But it's been a long time since I've cast a Delver.
I mean, it's always been a human insect in my heart.
Took Delver out of the cube. I'm mad.
That's a
they
good
did?
choice.
Yeah, they took it out of the
Yikes.
vintage cube with the new update.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to make work. Like, because if you have that many spells in cube, like, you tend to just win the game with all your spells. You don't need a 3-2.
It's true.
Especially
Like,
like a
that's-
3-2. Yeah, a 3-2 that you're only going to have one of in your deck.
Yeah, if I could have 4 Delver, I'd definitely play 4 Delver in cube.
Yeah.
Oh, what if you had like a cube version where each card you draft, you can put any amount in your deck?
It can't be any amount, right? Like, it has to be like, you have to like max it out at 3 or 4, right?
Well, yeah, 1 to 4. I think that'd be cool. You make like a full size deck.
I know that, like, I've seen cubes where Squadron Hawk was you got 4 if you wanted it. You got up to 4 or up to 3 or something. Like, so that could work. Maybe it's like I don't know. You could probably make this work. I'm down with it. This could be like the next iteration of your cube. We kind of got away from humans.
Good, I'm glad we did.
That's our show. You can find the podcast at Goblin Lore Pod on Twitter, or you can email any questions, comments, or concerns to goblinlorepodcast@gmail.com. Nick Prince can be found on Twitter at NickNPrince, and Ally Warfield can be found at Arctic Meebo. That's MEEBO. Joe Redeman can be found on Twitter at Findhorn. That's FYND Horn. And Hobbes Q can be found on Twitter at HobbesQ. Goblin Lore is a member of the Geek Therapy Network. You can find them at geektherapy.com or on Twitter at geektherapy. If you'd like to support the Goblins, hop on over to patreon.com/goblinlorepod and check us out. Thank you all for listening, and remember, goblins, like snowflakes, are only dangerous in numbers.